James Belder, the Boxing Source, here with another video, and this video here is to talk about the fight purses that are publicized for the rematch between Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz for the WBC Heavyweight Championship. It is shown here that Deontay Wilder will have a base purse of $3 million, and Luis Ortiz will have a base purse of $1.5 million. Now, in the first fight, if I'm not mistaken, the fight purses were Deontay Wilder getting $2.1 million, with Luis Ortiz getting $500,000. Now, of course, we've gone through the year 2019 where both of these guys were involved in possibly having a fight with Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua being the high profile heavyweight, the money man in the heavyweight division. At the beginning of the year, the unified heavyweight champion before June 1st, where he got upset by Andy Ruiz at Madison Square Garden. Both Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz were possible opponents for Anthony Joshua. Luis Ortiz was a possible replacement for Jarrell Miller when they originally scheduled for Joshua to fight Miller at Madison Square Garden, and Luis Ortiz had the opportunity to fight Anthony Joshua for $7 million, $5 to $7 million, and it ended up getting declined. And that is mainly because they knew that they would be part of a rematch between Ortiz and Deontay Wilder. Don't get it twisted. You don't think that Luis Ortiz would have been part of that fight between him and Anthony Joshua in Madison Square Garden? There had to be a back-end guarantee for that. This is no different than what happened in 2017 when Luis Ortiz went ahead and signed with Al Heyman back in March in 2017 after being involved in matchroom boxing, when he could have fought Anthony Joshua around that time when Joshua had the IBF and then won the WBA Super Championship from Vladimir Klitschko back in April 2017. But that is on the side of Luis Ortiz. On the side of Deontay Wilder, we know the whole ordeal. We know how many offers that he has been sent in order to fight Anthony Joshua at the time before June 1st for the undisputed heavyweight championship. And those have been turned down multiple times over. And the latest thing was the offer coming from the zone that he would have a 3-fight or 4-fight deal for $100 to $120 million guaranteed, with 2 fights with Anthony Joshua as part of the deal, and he did not take them. So now we see here that after not taking that deal, he went ahead and fought Dominic Breazeale and won that fight with Dominic Breazeale. And the reports are that he got about $10 to $12 million for that particular fight. We don't know. There's nothing out there that kind of guarantees that. We don't have the fight purses out like we have right here because this is from the Nevada State Athletic Commission and they do have to report this. So here you have Deontay Wilder with this $3 million base purse. Yes, the fight is on Fox pay-per-view, so this $3 million is the base purse, and he will be receiving money off the back end with the pay-per-view. However, this here shows that with Deontay Wilder having a base purse of $3 million is less than the base purse that he received when he fought Tyson Fury on December 1st, 2018. His base purse then was $4 million. Now, after the whole thing with the pay-per-views and all of that, people were saying that he received about 14 to 15 million dollars total for that particular fight between him and Tyson Fury. But my thing about that is, how could that be the case when you had the total amount of pay-per-view buys for that particular fight being around 300, 300,000 to 325,000 pay-per-view buys on Showtime? Now, you're going to have Deontay Wilder facing Luis Ortiz here. This is not near being as big of a fight as Deontay Wilder fighting Tyson Fury. Luis Ortiz does not have the type of fan base that Tyson Fury has. He's not going to be able to, build up the fight like Tyson Fury did against Deontay Wilder. We had a definitive conclusion to the first fight between Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz, and there wasn't really much demand for a rematch right after that particular fight. So now, having this happen more than a year after the first fight took place, I'm not seeing where you're going to have the same amount or more pay-per-view buys for this particular fight between Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz in comparison to Deontay Wilder's last fight on pay-per-view against Tyson Fury. And if you bring that into account, plus the base purses that you see here with Wilder getting $3 million and Ortiz getting $1.5 million, I do not see Deontay Wilder clearing more than $10 million for this particular fight. And with that being said, given that he had the opportunity to fight for $40 to $50 million guaranteed against Anthony Joshua, this seems like a bad deal all around for Deontay Wilder. And we have to find out how this whole thing turns out with Fox pay-per-view and to see if he will be able to be successful in that. Just going through what we've had over the the past year with Fox pay-per-view, Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia had about 375,000 pay-per-view buys. Pacquiao and Keith Thurman reached up to 500,000 pay-per-view buys. And Errol Spence against Sean Porter reached 350,000 pay-per-view buys. So we have to see if this fight between Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz reaches around that 350,000 pay-per-view buy number, given that Fox is more, popular than Showtime, much more popular than Showtime, of course. It's not like you have, CBS offering a pay-per-view, as Showtime is basically their premium network that CBS is affiliated with. So now Fox is directly putting themselves in there as saying that they are putting this up as a pay-per-view event, and they have pushed it many times over the past 10 to 14 days, and they're trying to close hard to see if they could get those numbers up for this particular fight. But you see here that the base purses are $3 million for Deontay Wilder, $1.5 million for Luis Ortiz. We'll see what happens within the back end for the amount of pay-per-view buys and the gate receipts there at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. So that is pretty much what we have going on here with Deontay Wilder. We'll see if he'll be able to reach the amount of money that he kind of seeks with this particular fight. Yes, he did have the $100 million and the $120 million guarantee that was right in front of him that he passed on. So he has to make that money back somehow. And I don't think that he made it with that Brazil fight. And I don't see him kind of making it back here with this fight with Luis Ortiz. And there's supposed to be a two-fight schedule with Tyson Fury in 2020. We'll see how much Deontay Wilder gets out of that to see if he gets pretty much even close to the amount of money that he would have received if he signed with the zone. So that pretty much covers this particular topic. Deontay Wilder receiving $3 million in his base purse in his rematch against Luis Ortiz. That's coming up on Saturday night on Fox pay-per-view. We'll see how many pay-per-view buys that this gets and if it will make him be able to get a considerable amount of money on the back end to kind of make this decision of him not signing that zone deal be a good decision on his part. You can subscribe to the Boxing Source here on YouTube. You can also catch the Boxing Source radio show live on Blog Talk Radio or catch it using your favorite podcast app, whether it's Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, or Anchor.fm. On that note, folks, I am out. Peace.